And so glad he's here tonight, and hope you'll welcome him and just get acquainted with him. And so here we are, Wednesday night, 7 o'clock, and you're here, and we've got a little distance, and there's more distance. If you need more distance, there's all kinds of chairs available on the side. Feel free to go get some distance, and I'm just done being silly with that. But glad you're here tonight. For a little bit of, just for the fun of it, I would ask, did you vote yesterday or sometime in the process?
I tried.
Okay, you tried.
Independent.
Okay, well, I would encourage you that, be a voter, because this is a significant season in the life of our country. And certainly in November, if you didn't make it this time, does anybody know how many Kentuckians voted?
I think they gave a number.
Was it a record number? What? 200,000 in the state of Kentucky?
These were the absentee ballots.
Okay, wow. Okay, they don't have all those counted yet, I don't. It's funny, my brother, I hope this is not too political. Hey, Bob McCabe, come in. My brother told me, we have a guy in our hometown, Wesley Morgan, that was running against Mitch McConnell. And he told me, he said, did you know Wesley Morgan came in second? I said, you're kidding me. He said, yeah, he did, he came in second. He said, Mitch McConnell had 87,000 votes and Wesley Morgan had 5,300, and he came in second. Sorry, Wesley, I'm sure you're not watching this, but if you are, I don't mean to make fun of you. I'd have got 9 votes if it had been me. But anyway, hope you did vote, and certainly we got a big election coming up in November. Hope you'll vote in that and celebrate that. Somebody tell me what tomorrow is? Don't tell me, Anita. Somebody else tell me. I know it's Thursday, Lanny. Come on. Tell me what tomorrow is. Come on, you people. It's a great holiday in the life of the church. Pentecost. Tim Wright, you got more degrees than we can shake a stick at. What is tomorrow?
You just told me it was Pentecost.
No, he said it's Pentecost.
Is it?
No. You guys are starting to embarrass me a little bit. June the 25th? High Point, Texas. No, what did you say? Yeah, it's a birthday of John the Baptist. You knew that, didn't you, Tim? Birthday of John the Baptist. The Eastern Orthodox Church makes a huge deal of celebrating the birthday of John the Baptist. Did you know the birthday of John the Baptist also coincides with the summer solstice, which means the days stop getting longer and start getting shorter. Also, it's very consistent with the theme of John the Baptist's life, which is what, Tim?
He should get greater and I should grow lesser.
That's right. He must increase, I must decrease. Summer solstice, birthday of John the Baptist, starting tomorrow. So, in case you didn't know it, hey, Larry Borders, we're halfway. You knew that tomorrow's the birthday of John the Baptist, didn't you, Larry?
I did.
Well, just for record, you're ahead of everybody in the room, man.
Not exactly, but I was aware of it. Can I tell you why?
Yeah, tell me.
Because there's a lady in this church that puts a candle in the window every year.
On that day? Am I acquainted with her?
Yes, you are.
Have I been married to her for 40 years? Yeah. Anita puts one candle in the window tomorrow, and every time I go by it, I remember, he must increase, I must decrease. It's a great little reminder as we begin. We're beginning tomorrow to make our way toward Christmas. So if you want to go ahead and start saving money for my present, start now. I don't mind. I can tell you what I like, and we can just go. So in case you didn't know, tomorrow is the birthday of John the Baptist, and I don't want you to miss that. Maybe it'd be a good idea to put a candle in the window, right, Larry? And it's a big celebration in the Eastern Orthodox Church that we shouldn't forget. So, good. Little pieces of trivia. Anything else important that we need to talk about? Ben has actually came in to help us, and actually this service is online tonight just because there's a few people say, I won't be there, but it would be nice if we could be a part. So, those of you who are here on a Wednesday night, welcome. Glad you're here. Hope it goes beautifully. You can certainly make recommendations about how to improve it, and we won't pay attention to them, but we're glad you're here. And so it's just good to be here with you tonight. Hey, I want to do what I do, if you don't mind, and you can do what you do. Is that okay? Everybody good with that? I'm going to do what I do, and you do what you do, and we'll have a great time together. A few weeks ago, I preached a sermon based on something Bill Williams told me, and he just kind of stuck for us. I don't know why. It was simple, and it was, we don't need to be chasing ugly. Now, Susan, I love Susan. I'm not going to talk too much Susan. Susan McFall takes that to her workplace. How many girls do you have working with you?
I have 32 altogether.
32 women. 19 men. 51. Man, that's a bunch. And so she shares that little video, which is only 90 seconds long, about, not chasing ugly to us. Okay? So please be willing to talk. Everybody, be willing to talk. Quentin, you can talk tonight. We don't mind. You don't have to be a member to talk. What should I require, Laney? You do have to put something in the offering plate. No. No. So I I'm in a study right now about faith. I don't know how I got there, but I'm in Hebrews 11, 1 through 6. If you want to read that on Sunday, kind of get you ready for Sunday, but I don't think we're going to talk about that. I want to talk about this word, one word tonight. S-T-A-R-T. Start. It's goofy. I don't know if we'll look at the Scripture or not. Hopefully there will be some Scripture that relates. But on a Wednesday night, lots of years ago, me and Phil Thrasher on a Wednesday night, I don't know where it came from, but it's like Isaiah 59:21 becomes my life verse on that night. And the Lord says, I'll put my words in your mouth. And I had no idea it was not going to be just this. It would be English words. And the Lord puts English words somehow in my heart and my mind, and they get in my life, and I don't know what, and this is one of them. This is an unbelievable word that I want us to talk about, see if we can help one another, see if we can encourage one another, see if we can bless one another tonight around the word start. If you've not been following, if you already know all the answers, just don't give all the church answers yet. If you're going to start something, what do you have to do before you start? Oh, prepare, okay. What else? I'm going to go down the line. Kathy, what do you have to do before you start? Move? Okay, she got to move, okay. I thought you meant maybe to Lexington or something like that. Okay. Chloe, what do you have to do before you start? Begin? Laney, what do you have to do before you start?
You have to have a goal.
Okay, you have a goal. Joyce, what you do before you start?
I was going to say think, but if this is kind of thought.
No, I think think's a good answer. Chuck, what you have to do before you start? Prepared? Okay, I'm going to put another. No, I'm going to make you choose. How about choosing another one? Anything else?
Depending on what it is, sometimes you have to study.
Okay, study. Bob McCabe, you got your hand up? Oh, pros and cons. Can you tell us quickly what pros and cons are? I know everybody in the room knows, but tell us.
Just looking at the situation, understand, the benefits,
Okay. So one of it is the benefits. What's the other one? What's the negative? If you don't call them benefits, what are they? Consequence. Is that right? Consequences? Okay, that's pretty good. Okay, I know somebody in this room that to start takes a long time. I used his name in vain last night on Hanging with Harry. Somebody laughed because they know it's Tim Wright. Tim Wright takes a long time to start. Tim, what else do you have to do before you start? Oh, count the cost, okay. Count cost. Did you hear that? You can hear he's a businessman. Cost, benefit. Okay. Anita, what do you have to do before you start? Stop. Okay. Christine, what do you have to do before you start?
Believe.
Okay. Anybody else? Cameron, what do you have to do before you're going to start something? I mean, it's something you haven't done before. I don't know what it is you're going to start. What do you have to do before you start? Quentin, we're going to drag you in early. Before you start something, whatever it is, what do you have to do, man? Okay. That's not a bad answer right now. Anything he can think of is already on the board. Okay, anybody else? Carol Wright, what do you have to do before you start? Make a list. Get permission. Okay, wait a minute. I heard some other thing. Wait a minute. Okay. There's a bunch of people seem to like permission. I don't know who said that. But somebody seems to like that. 1 second. Lisa, what do you have to do before you start? Talk about it. Robert Childers, your hand was up.
I said plan, I was thinking you have to plan.
Plan's okay. Yeah, okay, plan's okay. Okay. Now, let's go ahead. What are you going to say, Jim? Forgiveness. Okay. Man, this... Okay, we're building a good. Let's just keep going. What else you have to... Yes, ma'am. You like to pray before you start. Okay, that's the most spiritual thing up here, okay? That's good. All right. Anybody else? Nate, what do you have to do before you start, man? You're going to start a new project, a new art project. What do you have to do before you start?
I have to decide that I want to do it.
Okay, you have to decide. Okay? Clarify? Oh, clear a path. Okay. I'm going to add clarify because that's what I thought you said, and I think that's a good one. Man, we got a fine list up here. Susan McFall, you have 51 people working underneath you. What do you have to do before?
I plan my whole day.
Well, I got plan down here. You need to give me something.
But that's what I do.
That's what you do. Okay, we're going to let you. Okay, now let's. Oh, Bob, go ahead, man. Who you got to convince? Yeah, I appreciate the one that said convince. Probably it's your starting, so convincing me. Yeah. Okay, now take this list, look at all, and no wonder it takes Tim right a long time. My goodness. So we got to prepare and count the cost and sometimes give forgiveness, move, see the cost benefit, pray, begin, stop, decide, set a goal, believe, clear the path, think about it, analyze it, clarify it, study it, list the pros and cons, convince myself at the very least, look at the benefits, give permission sometimes. You were walking along, and all of a sudden you came to a place. It's interesting. Start's got the same root word behind it as the word startle. You know what startle is? Oh, it's like when the kid jumps around in the corner and scares you, you go, oh my goodness, you know? Same root behind that. So you're going along, all of a sudden doing whatever, but it's kind of a difficult, downward struggling, thinking through the issue kind of path. All this stuff needs to be done, you know, in order to ever get ahead of that. But you have this intersection where all of a sudden, boom. And the history of the definition of the word start says originally it was very involuntary. You know what involuntary means? You weren't doing any of this. Nothing on this. The original definition of the word start says it was involuntary, man. You weren't preparing and moving and beginning and goaling and thinking and studying pros and cons and benefiting consequences. You weren't doing any of that. You were going along and all of a sudden, boom. Got to start. Now, these days, nobody in the 2020s would believe that. You have to do at least all of this multiplied 3 times over before you really begin something new. And boy, I begin to think about the impact of that for us as Christians. And you see, this idea says God is the one that initiates things, man. He gets it going. He gets it going. That His grace is underneath everything. He's working, He's moving, He's shaping us, He's working on us. He's at work in our world. And at some point where we least expect it and wasn't thinking about it and weren't clarifying the goals or clearing the paths or analyzing the issues or checking out the benefits, we just got in this moment where God went boom. And He can do that. I'm getting kind of loud, aren't I? I apologize. He can do that. He can do that. I mean, the Word literally didn't have all of this analyzing, figuring it out, sit down, write it on paper, pray about it, think through it, work through it, should I do it? 19, we put conversations, asking others. Oh my goodness. I have to ask Anita at least 26 times. I'm going to put And I'll put my name on that one so you'll know it's me. Asking everybody, what do you think? Is this a good idea, bad idea? You just get in one of those places where God says, that's what a start is. A start, in the original meaning of the word, had the same root meaning as startle, and all of a sudden you go, bam. Begin to give me hope that God can give us a new start. Go ahead, Larry, go, man, go. Go ahead, you can stand up if you need to, it's okay.
Shoes anyway, so and I trim. Everybody see me trim. I'm trimming.
Yeah, he does. He don't.
And my shoe busted loose. And I went, whoa, I just started. That's what
That's exactly, yeah. There's a man that listens to preaching right there. Would you do that one more again? Say that again, Larry. That looked good, man.
And it just folded. It's a blue pair. They're out on the truck right now.
They got 9,000 miles on them, don't they?
Boom, on that trip. And I just said, all right, I started.
That's exactly what the word means, man. It's like you're on this path and it feels negative and you know something needs to change and somehow you need, man, I wear myself out thinking, I'm going to have to do all these things before I can ever make any kind of move. Which means I ain't going to make any moves anytime soon because there's too much there to wrestle with. You know what I mean? There's too much to wrestle with. And whether it's a big thing or a little thing, Larry says, I just started. And it's a beautiful thing to say God can somehow step into the moment right now where we have not done all of this stuff that we always have to do and just give you a fresh beginning. Man, I'm going to give Trevor's illustration again. He shared it last night on Hanging with Harry. A Sunday morning, he got grumpy. Man. Jeannie's not in here, and he's up working with the teens, so I can tell Trevor got grumpy. I could tell when I came to church because I said, hi, Trev, and he just kept going. I'm like, ooh, man, he must be having a bad morning, So I don't know all that happened, but anyway, the Hispanics needed help with the Wi-Fi, and he said, they always ask me Sunday morning, I got so much going on, I got time. He needed to disinfect all the doors and make sure the bathroom, that's part of his role. He took on, I didn't give it to him. Disinfects everything, tries to make everything as clean as possible, get ready for service. And in the process, he got a little cut on his arm. I would have just called it a nick, but he called it a cut, a laceration, whatever, I hope he doesn't watch this. He thought he needed major surgery. I thought he didn't even need a Band-Aid, Anyway, he got a cut on his arm, and he was just flat, bent out of shape, man. So he went up to the Hispanic service and helped them get their Wi-Fi fixed up, and he's walking back up the hallway, and somehow he just said, man, I need to do better than this. And it just all went away. Man. Now, it don't always work like that, does it? But I love it when it does, don't you? Yeah. Is it possible that that's the way the Lord does it sometimes, and we wear ourselves out trying to... And the Lord just wants to go, breath of fresh air, grace, wonderful new beginning. Go ahead, Bob, jump in, man. Please, please. That's a good point, Bob. Sometimes the Lord's been building some things in our lives we didn't even hardly recognize, and then all of a sudden it just comes to a point of, like, boom, it blossomed, it bloomed, and what He's been working, you just saw it work out. It's like, man, I didn't even know He'd been working on that. So go ahead, Christine.
Or the opposite, you're doing all of this, and you're preparing and getting ready to start, and then all of a sudden He goes, nope, you're going this way.
Yeah.
You start on that path.
Anybody ever done a whole lot of this, only get to the end of it and say, my word, I'm not going to do that after all. How frustrating, I've done every bit of this, and you get to the end of it and say, dude, why did I waste so much time on that? You don't end up doing it. And this whole idea that somehow, I thought about, listen, I've got a lot of ideas written down here. I don't want to go through them all because I just wear you out with that. But there's a little acronym out there that I used to see in a Christian bookstore I'm still prevalent, I don't know. But it's called, some of you guys may have seen it. And he's trying to roll over into the fire and he just foams in his mouth and he says, well, let me take care of that. Boom, boom. Or he comes into town, the lady's walking out of town boo-hooing with her son on the casket in the bier. And Jesus says, oh my goodness, let me raise this guy from the dead. Boom, 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 boom. And I'm not trying to say all of this is not valuable. I'm not saying throw your brain away and don't do any of that. But man, there's this wonderful picture. See, we believe in the grace of God. And man, we believe His grace is working. He's moving. His Spirit's working. He's teaching. Do you believe God's at work tonight? Do you believe God's at work in this time together, in our lives, separately, individually? Man, it's like, wow, what if tonight He wanted just to take something that you're about this far down on this list, you're still trying to get permission. Once you get permission, you can make, but you've done everything else, and it still hasn't gone anywhere, and you like to be like Trevor, just walking up the hallway, and all of a sudden it just went poof. Because, see, this is somehow it's about faith. You got to believe. You got to believe the Lord exists, and He's the rewarder of those who seek Him. Man. And it's not about, one more thing, Robert, and then you can speak, and I want you to. Think about the difference between the attitudes of these. Bob, you're engaged. I love Bob. Bob McCabe is a great guy. I'm so glad you're. What does this guy look like over here, Bob? Yeah, this guy on the side over here. What does he look like? Control freak? Be careful, your words are landing pretty close to you, you know. Thankfully, Tim doesn't have any hair for that to land on because it's just skimming off the top. This guy's been out of shape. He's tore up. He's worried. He's anxious. He's trying to get the answers. He's trying to figure out. He's asking people. He's trying to get permission, man. He's trying to weigh it carefully to make sure it's all. Some of that's all. Trying to clear the path, trying to convince himself, trying to gather all the information, to analyze all the data. Man, this person over here, man, they're so full of worship. I can't believe what God's done. Look what God's done. Oh, my goodness, He's done it again.
You gotta get excited about that.
If you don't, Larry, you're excited. Your wood's wet.
I gotta say something about Bob,
Yeah, say something about Bob. That's okay.
Bob he just starts. He comes up to the altar. Nobody asked him. He didn't even pray. I don't know if it was a prayer or just a conversation with the Lord that morning. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, he just started, didn't he? You think he sat back there and said, well, I wonder if I ought to do that or not. Or he said, I need to get permission from the pastor. I don't know if you know, he sent a note up here and said, is it okay if I stand in the front and magnify the Lord? And I sent a note back and said, that'd be fine. He didn't do any of that, man, Bob just said, whew, look at this. I got to magnify Jesus. Boom.
That's right.
Who was that guy? I always get his name backwards. Bob Lightfoot or Bob, help me. Barefoot Bob or Bob Barefoot? Bob Barefoot, they said, when to come to church, he was always shouting and praising the Lord before anybody else even got in the building. I mean, the piano player hadn't even started, and he's already going, woo! He started. And I love that. I love this. I'm coming, Robert. This guy right here, or this lady right here, man, God's doing it. God's been working. God's moving. God showed me something. God's answered a prayer I didn't even pray. God made provision. There was an intersection that I didn't even anticipate. I ran into somebody I didn't think I was going to run into. Man, somebody sent me a text that blessed me that I didn't even know was even there on Sunday, whatever. This person is just going, oh my goodness, oh my goodness, oh my. And this person's going, oh Lord, please help me figure out if I ought to. Hey, go ahead, Robert. What do you think, man?
I was just saying, I have to confess that sometimes when I know the Lord is telling me, I think the Lord is telling me, that person needs you to come over and talk to them and pray with them. They're already prepared. And I always say, Lord, are you kidding? I don't know that person. I've never seen him in my life. And somehow I can find an excuse, convince myself that maybe I'm here, maybe it's not really God. But I know when I do honor that, it's always the right thing to do.
Well, the reason you don't honor is because you get stuck over here. Ben told a great story last night, and some of you were on hanging with Harry, and you already heard that. He and Heather took a walk in the park. Yesterday morning, Ben, Yeah, and they got just coming down the hill there, and all of a sudden the bottom dropped out. You know, yes, we had just a flash flood of rain, and he went to hide under this tree, him and 7 other ladies hiding under the tree, and he said, I did not take one opportunity to greet them, to say good morning, to say, let's sing the Star Spangled Banner, or nothing. They just, you know, he said, I felt like it was just one of those, I'm just kind of walking along, and the rain starts coming, and I get one of those moments, and I miss it. I just missed it. And, you know, I had one of those today. I haven't told you guys, I don't tell too much about it. This arm here has been funky ever since I had a pacemaker put in. It swells sometimes. And I don't know, it's not too bad right now, but sometimes it swells. It don't hurt, it just swells. It's a different color. And so my internal medicine guy said, I want to check that and make sure you don't have some kind of blood clot in that arm. So I went today to my internal medicine doctor, who happens to be at UK Med Center, because he's my brother's friend, so that's what we do. It's just family. So I went over there, and the little girl, sorry, Bob, this little girl waited on me. She was just, it was just like, man. She was sweet and kind and gentle and sensitive and gracious and got me in and got me out. Didn't do anything but started up here and listened out here. And then she came down here and then she came all under my arm and down, and she said, there's not a sign of anything in your arm. Your arm is perfectly fine. But the whole event was just filled with, I don't know, the presence of God, the help of God, the provision, the blessing of God. Go ahead, Anita. Yeah. Yeah, Henry Blackaby, who wrote Experiencing God years ago, said, God's working, get in on it, be a part of it, you know, just be a part of it. And I think if you guys are like me, I have a number of issues in my life that I'd be a lot quicker to put on this side of the line than I would put on that side of the line. Because I feel like not all of these, but a bunch of these, I have to get completely worked through and balance the ledger at the bottom of the page before I can ever move forward. And we still need to do that on some things. So I don't mean to be irresponsible and throw all that out. But I'm telling you, could we be open to the fact that there will be some times when God, out of nowhere, just gives you a breath of fresh air? He just answers the question. I mean, He just comes and says, here you go. You don't know where it came from. You don't have an explanation for it. You don't know why it came the way it did, but there it is. Man, I believe He can do that. I believe He does do that. I believe He's at work. I believe He's moving. I believe He's moving in my life, in your life, and everybody's life out there. Man, and I'm kind of challenged that there was a day 200 years ago where this word didn't mean sit down at your desk for 3 hours and look out every possible scenario and figure out what to do, and when you're finally at the bottom, make a decision and do something. It didn't mean that. It meant live your life, trust God, and somewhere along the way, it's going to come. And just trust Him and follow His leadership and do what He tells you to do, and it'll be. So I've been asking Jesus. Like Larry, I love your illustration, man. You're a good help to me. I've been asking Jesus, Lord, just start this day. I want you to start it. Start me. Get me going. Because I can put so many things over in these columns. And rather than just say, you know, God's working, man. He can take this thing and go. I don't know what else. Let me see if there's anything. Go ahead, Bob McCabe.
Lord,
On three. Yeah, Bob, any kind of leadership position where you don't have absolute authority. You know, if I can just say to James, you're in prison, man, you do exactly what I tell you, and then it's not much of a problem. But if I respect him and he respects me and we work together and we try to listen to one another, even with the sense of God's clear direction. I'm going to give you an illustration that's so tender around here that I'm afraid to even mention it. I would still love to have opportunities, at least every now and then, to worship in the round. Put our musicians in there and sing. There were enough people that hated it in here, that told me how bad they hated it, that eventually I had to say, I'm just going to have to quit. I made a mistake the day I quit because I loved it so much that I should say, if you don't like it, just stay home. We're only going to do it one night a month, or we're just going to do it every now and then. So I won't de-Christianize you if you don't come. But the Lord, 10 or 12 or 13 years ago, but if I bring that back to the table right now, Bob, sorry, I shouldn't bring this up. Don't get mad at me, okay? If I bring this up back right now, I have to go through every one of these, and I'll get to the bottom and say, I just don't know if I can do that or not.
I love it. I come 2 hours away from it.
Yeah, Bob drove from Jamestown 2 or 3 times to be part of it. But some of our people said, I can't, well, we don't have to get into why. It don't matter, because they're good people. I love them, and they love me. But it was one of those things that I felt the Lord. But even after the Lord does this, Bob says, even after the Lord does this, we bring it back to the drawing table and say, I think the Lord wanted me to give $100 to Tim Wright tonight. I'm trying to help you, Tim. Since I've been throwing you under the bus, I think the Lord wanted me to give $100 tonight. Well, am I prepared for that? How do I have to move to get there? Should I just walk right up to him? What's the goal of that? Am I trying to win his friendship? I need to think this through. I need to study this. What are the pros and cons? I mean, what will Carol think if I give him $100, you know? What are the benefits of that? Will he give me a job at the elevator business? And the consequences are he'll be expecting $100 again next week, you know? It's going to be terrible and costing. And I just need to stop here and think about this for a little while, you know? And I don't know if I believe I should. Well, analyze. By then, he's already back home, man. You forget it. He's at the house, drinking coffee, sitting on the porch, watching the coyotes in his neighborhood. By the way, he's got a picture of him sitting on the front porch with a rifle right by him in a rocking chair so he can shoot the coyotes when they come in around the front. But, and I'm not, this is not a biblical word, but God's grace and God's movement and God's speaking voice and God's presence that works in our lives every single day is a biblical idea. So this is just a way to say, man, the Lord's at work. What if he just wanted to do a brand new thing? Or I'm coming, Robert, I promise. What if you've been working in this category? I promise I'm coming, Robert. I just can't keep my mouth shut. Me and you, we're a lot alike, you know. What if the Lord's, I've been wrestling, the Lord just wants to say, now it's your turn, Robert. Take as long as you want. Take as long as you want.
I absolutely believe that if I don't, in the morning, ask God to protect me from Satan's stuff that he does, he throws at us, that, you know, if I don't do that, then I'm apt to run into that problem of not seeing what God has in mind for me. I'm liable to just, I think he can put stuff in front of me that kind of makes me off course. Not that I'm trying to do it, I mean, I'm trying to do the right thing, but I believe Satan is active and he puts stuff in front of us that messes us up. It's just like if I think I should say something to this person, but oh, wait a minute, I don't know them. That's the Satan. I think that's get behind me, devil, because I think that's where it's coming from.
You know, I think I've even got a copy of my phone. I'm working on it for Sunday. Again, Oswald Chambers, Phil and Anita, they pump Oswald Chambers into my life like an IV. I mean, Oswald Chambers says, as soon as you do that, you lose the battle. When you know that God has told you to do it and you turn away from that, you lose the battle. You lose the battle. That's strong, but that's, you know. And so I want to somehow, this is really about depending on Him rather than depending on you, believing He's at work, rather than trying to get the exact answer at the exact time for this situation. Just really expecting, You know, you got to expect God's going to do something here. I don't know what it is. I don't know how it's going to come about. But man, I wrote down a bunch of things. It's like a breath of fresh air, a new beginning, the grace of God, a sweet surprise out of nowhere. Monica Blake used to call it a do-over. You know, you just get a do-over. Eugene Peterson, the first step is always God's in everything. The fact that you feel like you need to pray about it, guess where that came from? The fact you feel like I need to see what Scripture says about that, guess where that came from? He is generating and initiating all of that, and somehow we all got to say, I remember Dr. Manley said one time, it's like he was in the room and went flying across the room, and I don't know why this was the illustration, but all he could do is turn around and say, Lord, what a great kick. It's just like, wow, I just got pushed forward by the Lord. Rather than wear myself out trying to come up with the answer. One time, it's funny the thing. Don't you think it's funny the things you remember in sermons? And some of them they don't amount to a hill of beans. They're gone by Monday. Most of mine are gone in your lives by Monday. But John Jewman preached one time. He was one of Manley's associates. Said, if the Lord's not calling you to do something right this minute, you know what He's calling you to do? Just rest. Man, just rest. Don't spend all your time doing this. Just rest. When He wants you to do something, He'll let you know. Just rest. Man, you can just most of my life, you can just put my initials in the middle of this side of the column and say, that's the way that old boy's operated right there. Too much of the time. And the Lord's trying to teach me, man, I'm working, I'm moving, I'm involved, I'm in the middle of this process. I am in the mix. I love that. I own it. Your turn, girl.
It's my turn. Well, I've been sitting here thinking of all the consequences of saying what I'm going to say. And I've been right on that side of the road. And so I'm going to do it. And you put my hand there. Because I studied the consequences. Right now is different than what...
Okay.
For 5 years, I've been planning minor, it's not minor anymore, but a surgery that's elective. And I keep putting it off for this reason or that reason and everything you got up there. And I called in March and I says to the doctor, I can't have this till June. And she says, okay. And so it got scheduled. And the consequence is everybody's going to ask me what I'm going to have done.
You might as well go ahead and tell them. Well, I'm sorry about it. What did you say, that last part?
I don't want to really talk about what I was planning.
Okay, that's going to work like a charm, but go ahead.
That's the consequence. Okay, so they scheduled it, and then they gave me all this time to go in and get my pre-admission testing and everything. And all of a sudden, they did the EKG and they looked at it, and she said, and I says, can I see that? And she didn't want to show it to me, and I says, oh, I have up on Old Ranch Walk. I'm scared. I had an anxiety attack all the way home. It's a wonder I even made it home.
Okay.
And the next morning I got up. She said, you need to go see a cardiologist. They'll call you before this day's over.
Oh, boy.
You'll have an appointment.
By the way, it's no fun to have a cardiologist. Keep going. Keep going. Yeah.
I'm still working on that.
Yeah, I know.
And so the next day called and I got an appointment and I went in and she talked to me and she says, oh, you need to have some tests. You can't have your surgery on the 22nd. And so this Friday I'm having a couple heart tests. But before that, it was like a thing with Ravi in one of his books, The Logic of God, and of the utmost, I texted you and told you.
Yeah, you did.
I says, man, my anxiety's gone, and I'm okay. This is going to be fine.
Somehow, Aon, you went from here
I went from there
to there.
over there, and I'm not scared. Tomorrow I start my prayers.
You know, I have a first cousin that just right now began to have troubles with her left arm and her left leg. And they thought, well, you know, typically in my family, we went, well, that sounds like you've had a stroke. She didn't have a stroke. So they went and found out, in fact, she has a tumor in her brain. And it's pressing on that side of her brain, or that portion of motor controls, and so she can't. So today she had a biopsy. And they said, first you need to know this is inoperable, it's too messed up. And you need 30 days of radiation and 30 days of chemotherapy, and we'll see where we go from there. And she said, God's got this. And her mother's crying, and she said, Mom, quit crying. Jesus is going to take care of this. I'm telling you, you can't do enough of this to find peace in that moment. Can you, own? You can't hardly drive home. You can't, there's not enough, because when you do this, the answers don't match up. They say, oh my goodness, I'm dead, you know, or whatever. You just, somehow the Lord meets you in that downward path and says, I'm going to be with you in this. And you're like, okay, wow. So Aon went from hardly knowing how to drive home to being at peace. Now, does she have some concerns? You bet she does. Does she know where this is going to go? She doesn't. Is she a little bit anxious about it? Probably. And we're not talking about, I'm just walking around like the good fairy saying this is all. But it sure doesn't look like this. Sure doesn't look like this. Maybe right in here tonight with us, there's some things that we've been on this side of the page that if we be open, God might give brand new direction and just say, this is what I want to do. And help us with it. Now, I don't want to make it, I want to be honest and not make this just from extremely hard to a birthday party. This is not always a birthday party, but it's peace, and it's help, and it's direction, and it's stability, and it's God's presence, and it's the Holy Spirit giving direction, and it's okay. This side is just where you're hiding out.
That side is what the world is looking for.
Yeah.
Coronavirus, protesting, everything that is completely wrong, to somehow say, this isn't the end, it's a start. God's working in the middle of that.
Yeah. So, and when the world looks on and sees this, they're saying, how in the world are you facing this like you're facing it? I don't understand. Go ahead, Kathy.
Well, I was going to say, after my accident,
Not everybody knows Kathy was on the expressway, and a leaf spring out of a truck in front of her came through, broke off the truck, came through her windshield and hit her directly in the mouth. Now go ahead. In the face.
when I had to go back to Norton to have the surgery, and you came up, and I mean, I was scared. I didn't know what was happening or anything. You were sick, and I felt so bad because you came out because you were so sick at that time. Remember, that's when you
no.
had the sinus infection.
I don't remember, but that's
You
okay.
were very sick, and you came downtown to not Jewish, but
Norton's.
Norton's, and you fought the traffic and parking and all that. And when they come back, when I was waiting to be, my surgery was delayed, and they told me, they said, your pastor's here. And I felt like a peace come over. And you prayed, and then I knew that when I went into surgery, I knew that God had it, and I was going to be okay. And, it just had a peace, and I was just so thankful that you did that.
Kathy, and the truth is, it's not always me. Sometimes it's us with one another. People love us and minister to us and help us and speak to us and encourage us in ways that they help us get here, man. They help us get here. Go ahead.
So, and since that day, I have not felt alone. I felt that I had my family here.
Isn't that beautiful?
I know that, everybody that, I've met so many new people, and, people still check on me, and, and it's just, I feel that I will never ever be alone again. As long as,
What a beautiful, we're just going to put Kathy over there in that category, man. But he came, and sometimes, guys, I don't want to be pie in the sky. Sometimes you can have a few minutes of this, but let's not make it 3 weeks or a month if we can keep from it. You know what I mean? Let's let God get us into a place of saying, he can be trusted. He's got this. Man, he's got this. Larry, anything you want to say? Man, I thought you was going to fall down and catch yourself one more time. I just started. Would it be okay? Yeah. Would it be okay if we say, Lord, if there's an area of your life that if there's some issue that you'd put into this side of the equation for you, would you say, Lord, I'm just open to your leadership. I'm open to what you might want to show me. I'm open to how you might want to intersect the path. Open my eyes so I'll be able to see it. Start a new thing. Help me get it. And believe He will. Believe He will. I think it's beautiful. Anybody else? Tim, you want to think? I've been picking on you all night, man. Is there anything you want to say?
It would change the whole direction, though.
No, try anyway.
Well, I'm thinking that the left list, that's how we live. That's a day-to-day, one foot in front of another. Way.
Okay.
And if you don't live that way, you never know when the Lord stops you in the middle of something and changes your direction. I kind of think that that's all that on the left. If I read my Bible correctly, at the very beginning, that's actually the image of God stamped in us. Because that's how He approached making creation, and that's how He made us to live like that, to think like that, to operate like that. And every once in a while, I think I need to do something different here to help them with this. He just changes something, and it will be like that. It will be a startle. It will be a change of direction. Man, I never saw that coming. This is way better kind of deal. I don't know.
That's okay. Yeah, he's probably a little bit more of a realist and a little more positive than I am. Either that or he's just justifying his bad behavior. I'm not sure. Certainly, this is a part of life, guys. That's why we know this is a part of our lives, man. This is a part of our lives. But isn't it glorious to believe, in addition to this, there can be those moments when God brings an answer, man. He brings, and I've tried to say more, not as strong as Tim did. I'm trying to say, I know this is going to happen some of the time. It still happens in me. I know it's going to happen. But I want to believe that God can sometimes intersect my path and give direction. Man, I love that. Shayla, you're up, and then somebody over here. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I feel like the reason I live by like the left side is because what Bob was saying earlier, I'm like a control freak.
Okay.
And like a major thing like I have a difficulty with is trust.
Okay.
So I feel like you need trust to, start without all that.
Let me say something about one of my friends. Tim can help you with that. Because he defines believing as trust. It's not just, it's say, hey, my life's in your hands. We've all been there. Somebody else was, yeah, go ahead, Bob, jump in, man.
I think part of it is like me, if I'm trying to make a decision, all right? We as a body, sometimes we're the grace for somebody.
Yeah, we are.
And so, and we're emotional in it, we're going through our thing, but like I come to you and ask you, you're like, yeah, man, go for it, that's God using the body to
Yeah,
help us make
thank you.
decisions.
Thank you.
And that's where it kind of comes in hand is if we're doing our part and then asking for advice or help, sometimes we get it.
Good.
Get warnings, no, don't do that.
Okay, let's go back through here. You guys have encouraged me a little bit. So is it okay to prepare? Yeah. Do you have to move sometimes? Yeah. Do you have to begin? Yeah, you probably do. Do you need a goal? Yeah. Do you need to think? Yeah. Do you need to study? Yeah. Do you need to look at pros and cons? Yeah, sometimes you do. Benefits? Yeah. Consequences? Yeah. Need to count the cost? Probably. Count the cost benefit? That's too production oriented for me. I don't know what that means, but yeah. You have to stop? Yeah. You need to believe? Yeah. You need to analyze? Yeah, probably. Do you make a list? I know Anita does. Yeah, permission? Yeah. You need to talk about it? Yeah. Do you need a plan? Yeah. Do you need forgiveness? Yeah, sometimes. You need to pray? Yeah. You need, yeah. So maybe we don't, the word is poo-poo all of this stuff, but we keep it in perspective somehow that says, I don't want to be dependent on just finding those answers in me. I want God to intersect my life in the middle of all of that and give me direction and give me leadership so I can so I can follow Him. And sometimes that'll come. Yeah, go ahead, Larry, and we'll be done.
I got another start for Bob.
Okay, Bob, you got to start coming, buddy.
When he was moving in, it was the long day thinking we're going to be doing this. Maybe went over 2 days. I don't remember. We're going to do it. No, can't do it. Yeah, we're going to do it. No, can't do it. Well, when it's time to get there, I said, I can't do it. We already got plans. I said, no, I'm going to be there. If I was in his shoes, I'd want somebody to come.
That's exactly. I remember you didn't get there till. What time did you say?
Like 6 or 7.
Yeah, he called me and said, we're arriving at 7 o'clock. And I'm thinking, how am I going to get anybody at 7 o'clock on a Thursday night to come out and help this guy move in? So I called 5 or 6 guys. I don't remember who they were. And Larry Border said, well, I really got something to do tonight. And then he's like, wait. If I was moving in, I want somebody to come. So he set all this aside and said, I'll go help Bob. And he came. And
But that wasn't about me.
no. Yeah. So, you guys have all helped me a little bit to say, hanging on to some of this is probably okay. But don't take it too far. Let God be in the middle of it all. Let God interrupt this sometimes with one of those. Let Him bring direction, give leadership, bring the answers. Yeah, so you've corrected my theology. Thank you very much, Tim Wright. Go ahead, Bob. Jump in, man. Go ahead. I love stories.
I got called to Crazy 17. And went to youth camp. I was going to youth camp with an objective to find out what I was supposed to do in life. And I guess that was my
Yeah.
push. And I was taking counseling at the time. I was going to be in counseling, but it was no other, nothing else. And I remember going to the altar. And I told the Lord, I said, I'm not leaving this altar until you talk. And so I was up there for a while, and the kids got worried, so all of them, 50 kids would come over and got on top of me, and was praying for me. I was there for a while, I said, Lord, what do you want me to do about that? Big garbage man, literally, big garbage man, what do you want me to do? And finally over time, he said, preach more. But that was the start.
Here's a start.
There was no no planning. I said, yes, Lord.
Bob, I had a similar experience.
Stood up and went back to my seat. Everybody's like, what are you doing? I said, the Lord's working.
Yeah, don't you like that? I had a similar experience. I was at youth camp as a counselor with other kids, and I was a chemistry major planning to go to pharmacy school. And that's what I was going to do. But I wasn't walking with Jesus. So I remember I went to the altar and prayed, and I was like you, it took a long time. Everybody else had left the building. And I was still at the altar, just me, praying. Lord, what do you want me to do? And I didn't get one of those, but I knew He wanted me to do His work, His will, His way. And it was about this broad. It was wide open, but I knew He wanted me to serve Him. And I got a new start. I went home. Everything changed based on that moment. This didn't change it. That's a good point. A lot of times, guys, this stuff is, we've acknowledged it can be valuable and important, but when God steps in, man, He can illuminate that and clarify that and change some of that. It's just really helpful. Our time's probably over. It may be 9 o'clock. I don't know what time it is. Somebody tell me what time is it, Shayla? What time? Okay, I guess it's 11. I don't know what time it is. 8:02, that's perfect. Why don't we pray before we go? Lord, tonight our conversation has been beautiful. I thank you so much. Thank you for a little bit of correction that I needed from these guys that said, don't just throw all the brain capacity out the window. Don't throw all the evaluation, analyzation, and deciding and praying and preparing and planning out the window. And sometimes I want to just do that and just say, Lord, just show me. And so I commit to you that I don't want to just dismiss all the left side, but I really need your direction. Some of us in the room, honestly, we do the right side so strongly, we don't even know what it looks like to have the left side come. And I pray, oh Lord, there'd be somehow a great spiritual hope that in the middle of whatever it is we're wrestling through, God could give direction. God could give a new start. God could give a new answer. God could come in and show me something that I've not been able to find or analyze or examine or evaluate or come to a conclusion about. And I pray, oh Lord, somehow, give us all a new start. Maybe in some area, maybe a little thing, maybe a big thing that we've been wrestling around with, and maybe it's big enough we should have been wrestling around with it, but we've still not come to an answer. I pray, Jesus, you'd intervene and you'd bring an answer. Use our study, use our plans, use our preparations, use our thought processes, but somehow, Lord, bring us an answer, I pray. Help us to be open to it. Robert says, don't delay with it, act on it, follow on it, get up from the altar and go back and say, God has given me a new start, and begin to walk that out, Lord, every single day. Such a privilege and a blessing, Lord. Now, before we go, we just got to say thank you for a beautiful summer day. Man, the temperature and the people and the low humidity and the evening, oh Lord, together. Thank you for a beautiful summer day. Thank you for our church family and our families. Thank you for all the good things you're doing for us, oh Lord. Thank you for your movement and your activity and your grace at work around us. Thank you for the encouragement of your people and just life in every way. And keep our eyes on you, oh Lord. And in some of those areas where we've been wrestling, give us a new start. And we'll give you praise. In Jesus' name we ask. Amen. Amen. Bless you. Thank you for coming. And may you get a new start as you walk out the building. Good. That's all I need. Hey, Tim.